Hello, my name is Lindy Collier-Grady, and I am a VMUG leader here in Indianapolis. I'm also a V-expert, and I'm also founder of V-Ladies, and I am also the host for the VMUG Advantage Hello from My Home Lab. What I'm here to talk about today is my journey as a VMUG leader and how I came to this junction in my life. So with that, I'll get started with the overture of my journey. So, I'm going to start from the beginning. So, I don't know if everybody knows that I am literally a product of the Vietnam War. I was born in a barn in Ubon, Thailand. My dad ended up re-enlisting for his second tour of duty in Vietnam to come back to get my mother and I and bring us back to the United States. So when people say, were you born in a barn? I can honestly say, yes, I was. And there is my home. And then my passport picture. I had to throw that in there. So how did I get to technology? So I spent 15 years in a pre-cooked bacon facility. I was a quality assurance manager. I went to school for food science at Iowa State University. I did that started at the ground level, worked my way up. At that time, again, it was a male-dominated industry. Funny how I keep finding myself in those situations. But I decided that after 15 years and being on call 24/7 and not liking the smell of bacon anymore, I decided to get out. I became the director of operations at a water facility. Yes, I sold water. If you can sell bacon and water, you're doing good in life. So then I decided that, didn't like that. I wanted a new challenge. So I found myself in taking a sales role for Monster.com. Worked at Monster.com for 9 years. Wanted to help employers find the right people and vice versa, connecting those two entities together and kind of building, somebody's future, or filling dreams, helping families, move on from where they were. So it was really a gratifying job. But still at that point, how long can the quote-unquote job boards last? So I was actually in 2015 asked, one of a VAR here in Indianapolis kind of reached out to me and said, hey, we found your resume on LinkedIn. Wanted to know if you, had any interest in learning more about our company. And I'm like, well, sure, why not? This sounds like a cool thing. Information technology seems like something that's cool and upcoming. What is this stuff about? So I went in, interviewed, and actually got the job. After further thinking about that, I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. I'm kind of pretty solid with where I'm at right now at Monster. So I really want to make that transition. So what I did is accepted the offer and then rescinded it 2 days later, thinking I'm never going into technology. I'm going to stay at Monster for the rest of my life. So in 2016, on a sales achievement trip down in Punta Mita, Mexico, I decided I was going to jump off into the ocean, but slipped and fell instead and broke both of my feet. So with that, I ended up having 3 months off in a wheelchair, trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life later, or my next steps in my career. So I decided to re-engage that same employer who I rescinded my offer to back in 2015, and lucky for me, they were still interested in me. So I ended up making the switch from being a media specialist in marketing to my first steps in the IT world. And oh my gosh, the first aha moment when I got in was, what the hell have I done? What did I do? I knew nothing of this new world. There was so much knowledge that people around me were just like spewing out all these acronyms, and Martez was one of those guys that's sitting out there, and I'm like looking like a deer in headlights and trying to figure out how in the world do I get acclimated to this world. And it was like going back to school all over again, staying up to 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, going through all these technologies that the practice focused on. And then I decided, screw this. let me fit, yeah, and many drinks later, thanks Tim. I decided, you know, I really want to get focused into one technology, and I decided to go for VMware. So I went to the president of the company and said, hey, you know what, we have this huge practice around vRealize and automations and, you know, security by design using NSX. Let me be your VMware platform specialist. Okay, here you go. At that point, I decided, well, how do I break into this world? Again, a lot of late nights, staying up, getting certifications and things like that. Then I found something that's called VMUG. I was like, ooh, what's this? I'm going to just go dive in. And so I went to my first VMUG event in September of 2016 over in Cincinnati, Ohio. And the keynote speaker happened to have a similar story to my story of how she came to the United States. I went up to her, was introduced, met Keith Townsend, and everybody knows Keith. And Keith kind of was like, you know what? You know, the best way to get acclimated into this world is to become a VMUG leader. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever, I'm going to do it. So lo and behold, I come back, and first person I meet is Ken. So Ken kind of introduced me to what VMUG was all about. I became a leader, and long story short, here it is, a year and a half, almost 2 years later, and this is where I am today. So I am a VMUG leader here in Indianapolis. I am also the founder of vLadies. I'm a VMUG expert. I'm the host to Hello from My Home Labs, like I said before. And, you know, my story is still being written. So I'm so happy to be part of this community. I'm so happy to be around all of these incredible minds. And I look forward to what my next steps are in the world of technology. Any questions? Oh, come on.
When did you start using Twitter? And repeat that question so we can really get it.
Oh, when did I start using Twitter? I was always adverse to Twitter because it moves too fast. My mind just, so one of the things I realized is that everyone in this community are huge Twitter people. Tweets are flying left and right. So I'm going to say probably in the last year would be when I really started getting into Twitter and following things. You guys still move way too fast for me. It's like my phone's been going off like Jiffy Pop over the last couple days and getting ready for UserCon. So anything else? Oh, come on. I've got 2 more minutes.
As a woman, how do you move past being a minority in a male-dominated?
It's a great question, Martez. Great question. So Martez has asked, how do I, get past being a minority in a male-dominated field? Back to when I first started in the food industry. In the meat industry, it was totally male-dominated. I worked for a company out in Utah, when I was the director of a bottled water manufacturer, and they believed women should be in the kitchen barefoot and pregnant. And so in each one of my careers, I've had to overcome this whole dichotomy that, women are always having to fight for their way up to the top. The one thing that in the tech world, people are more embracive and wanting to bring more women into technology, and that's the reason why I founded vLadies. One of the things that, from the very get-go, the very first VMUG back in 2016 that we did, we were at one of our sponsors and looking out into the crowd, and it's like, well, first thing, where's the ladies? Where is everybody at? And it was like, whoa, 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 this is, we're in 2016, we should be progressive, there should be more women. But what I found is that there are ladies out there. They have just chosen to go away from the user group. And so one of the premises of vLadies is bring those women back to give input back into the user community and not silo themselves into these, organizations that are solely focused on women, when we can celebrate, empower them back into the user group and pass down knowledge to our daughters and to men's daughters and things of that nature, or fathers, men, you know the gist. So, that's the whole intent of vLadies, is to empower women to come back to the user group, to help teach and coach and mentor young girls to not go and, go off to the ladies in high tech and things of that nature, but to get involved in the communities and the technologies that they play with every single day. So that's kind of where it is today. Anything else? All right, thank you.